Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is a love show. No, wait, it's been a while. This is the Sylbourne Show, and today we're talking about love. We have reached out to you members of the public and our audience to find some of your greatest Valentine stories ever. We also have a very special guest that will be sharing his experiences as well. That's all coming up right now on the Sylbourne Show. Welcome back to the Sylbourne Show. We are back for 2016. We have a new studio, a new look, and of course, new and inspiring guests all coming up over the next few weeks. Today is slightly different though, as it is Valentine's Day, and we wanted to mark the day properly. We have a brilliant guest coming up that will share Valentine stories, but first, we went out to speak to you about your Valentine stories.
Camden to like a Caribbean restaurant, had cocktails, stayed out late, just like, you know, it was obvious at that stage we were going to have a relationship for both of us.
We went to Eden Project in Cornwall and we had a meal and yeah, it was good. It was our first Valentine's Day. Yeah.
I wet my room on with candles and then invited him to my apartment.
I remember a beautiful car, but I can't remember the presents.
That must have been chocolate.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
So my Valentine's story is, so I didn't go out with my boyfriend, but my mum took me to the spaghetti house and we had a really romantic time there, just me and my mum bonding.
But I agree with the commercial thing, it's also true. So everybody likes it, everybody wants it, yeah. Especially for Valentine's Day. Maybe you need to share the love every time, you know, not on a special day.
For little kids it was always cute if they write their own little poem to the boyfriend in school, or you find something in your backpack without a name. That's really cute, but now it has to cost a lot of money. It's not just a bunch of roses anymore, it's big presents.
We don't buy presents because we don't believe in the commercial side of it. We just want to spend the day together or have an experience or a memory together. That's what we do. So that's our little thing that we have on Valentine's.
Why is there one day of the year when you just be like, suddenly I'm in love?
Yeah.
And it just seems a little bit odd.
Wow, fantastic. Some really interesting views out there about Valentine's Day for me. I think, from my personal opinion, I think that's fantastic. But before I go any further also, I want to invite all of you, anyone watching now, to actually give us your opinion as well about Valentine's Day. I think it's an exciting time. Sometimes I think it may be over-commercialized, but guess what? Let me not go any further with that. Joining us on the show today, we have Coach Chris Browne, who's a development coach and speaker, who I will call today the Love Doctor. Chris, welcome to the show.
Glad to be on board. Thank you for having me.
You're the Love Doctor.
I've been called many things in my time, but the Love Doctor can be called today.
Chris normally is called Chris Browne, Coach Chris Browne. But guess what? It's a Brown with an E. Never forget that. You know, Chris, listen. We have watched some of the people's stories today, and we all want to know, what is your best Valentine's Day story? I'm going to start with you. I'll give you mine after.
Valentine's. You know what? It's really funny growing up as a kid. I went to obviously a mixed school at the time. And many situations, I weren't as bold as I am today in that sense. And I can remember situations thinking, oh no, that person, when you can approach him and do all that sort of thing and go to my head. But you know what? The real thing about it, now is my Valentine's with my wife. You know,
fantastic.
I've been saying that this is it.
Well, Chris, if you didn't say that, you wouldn't be able to go home.
You got it. You got it.
Fantastic. Listen, for me personally, of course, I've got my darling wife, but in around 93, I came to this country in 92 in the UK, and I became a Christian around that time, 93, 94. And I remember one day, I go to a church which is called Kensington Temple, and I never had a partner or anybody at that time, and I remember the offering was going around, but I deliberately and specifically went to church with a card, and the card was a Valentine's Day card to the Lord.
Oh, wow.
You know, and I put it in the offering box. to the Lord, my Lord and personal Savior.
Wow.
And for me, that was because, you know, I've been a new Christian, everything, you know, you're all in this euphoria and everything. Right. But that was really touching to me, really personally.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Did you get a reply?
I got a reply. Guess what?
What?
He's been loving me every day since.
Hey.
You know? And he gave me a beautiful wife, you know what I mean? Hey, you know what I mean?
That's it.
So yeah, so it worked, you know. So fantastic. So that's mine, that's Chris. And of course, people, let us know your story as well. So Chris, tell me now, you know, do you think that Valentine's Day is somewhat overly commercialized, or there's no harm in celebration of Valentine's Day?
Hey, look, there's no harm in celebrating love and showing everybody what you really feel and what you believe at the end of the day. When you say is it commercialized, we've got to think about it. The cards are exchanged. It's over 1 billion cards are exchanged at this time. Yeah. So there is somebody commercializing, making money, it's been monetary, but you got to think, and you really got to do this. You got to start thinking with your head and not just your heart. You know, the heart, it goes up, it goes down. It goes up, it goes down. The head, the thinking, is the one you got to think about, the relationships you're getting into. It's a great time. There's those who are not as confident to speak to people, so that's an opportunity for them to say, well, because it's Valentine's.
Right,
and then there's others where you don't have to, you could show it every day in different ways at the end of the day, but it's not a bad thing.
I mean, watching some of the videos there, you see different persons talking about how they celebrate Valentine's Day. There was even a young girl who said that she's in school, she was in school, as you can see on the clip, and she said she actually spent the time with her mother, and they went bonding. I mean, is it that the UK sees it as a love zone between lovers, or should it be something which is about love, period?
I put it that it should be about love, period. And much to what you just said, in the UK, it is about lovers, you know, one-on-one. That's the way. I've seen cards when I've traveled abroad saying to your auntie on Valentine's Day, or to your sister, or to, you know, your grandmother, your grandfather. I've seen those kind of cards abroad. It's over here, really, specifically, we focus on, well, one-on-one at the end of the day. And we got to look back. We got to look about when Valentine's actually started and how it actually started. And, you know, it was an emperor, a Roman emperor, who turned around and said, look, I don't want men to get married in a time of wartime. So you had this bishop who was Valentine, who turned around and said, well, look, he went against it. So they locked him up until his death. But what he did, just before he died, he wrote a letter and he signed it from your Valentine. But the funny thing, he wrote it to the jailer's daughter.
Right.
So that was the end of that. Now, you think about it.
That's Chaucer, the Chaucer poem?
Yep.
You know, indeed a real saint, the day we know in modern times celebrate Valentine's Day, was not born until a reference in the poem in 1375.
Yeah.
Wow. And now commercialized and is now pedestalized as a day of expressive love. Some people say expensive love. Is it an expensive love for you as well? You know? No, that's powerful. So, beside on Valentine's Day, what advice would you also give couples on keeping the romantic aspect of their lives going throughout the year? Throughout the year.
Throughout the year?
Yeah.
Well, what I'll say, one, is, look, you're with someone who you vow to and you love, right? And you want to keep that fire going. And one thing you got to do is respect that person that you're with at the end of the day. You know, I look at my situation, wife, myself, right? I don't let a day go by without telling her how I feel about it.
Yes.
But not to get overly about it, that you're just going to get used to that, or does something. Don't take a person for granted as well. Thank them for little things they do. Make a difference. Leave little things around the house, whatever it is. But keep showing and keep growing. That's the main thing. And
because at the same time, there's a lot of people that get this massive pressure at this time of the year. Valentine's Day is coming up. Therefore, I've got to get this going. I've got to get a boyfriend. I've got to get a girlfriend, or they're going to feel like they're out of the loop and something. So therefore, this massive pressure. Now, as a development coach at the same time, Coach Browne, how do you speak to persons who are going through that sort of period, that traumatic moment? Because for some, it is traumatic.
It is. It is. And there are many times when in many celebrations around that time, there's a certain group of people who will be left out. You've got to think about it as Valentine's. There's those who've actually lost their partner. There's those who are not in relationships as well. But I'll say to those individuals, look, first, you've got to love yourself. You've got to know you. Because if you've got nothing inside, then you have nothing to give at the end of the day. And don't keep thinking, well, I have to be like somebody else. Listen, God made us individually. Even if you've got a twin, You are an individual.
Yes.
And you've got to respect you. You've got to love you before you can give yourself to somebody else. So work on yourself. Don't think I've got to be just like everybody else. The 1.so-and-so billion that's giving away cards this time. Doesn't mean you have to do it too.
Chris, some primary schools in the past, they have banned Valentine's Day. The cards on the rationale that children at that age are too young to understand emotionally and socially the context of Valentine's Day and the unfairness it places on kids who do not receive any Valentines. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, my thoughts on that, each one to their own. But in this sort of situation, you've got to think, look, kids need to be exposed to emotions, understanding, seeing their parents being loving, seeing those around them sharing love. We really need it. It's being cut out in different areas. Now, if you start cutting out Valentine's, you've got to cut out every other celebration as well. I mean, I read the article as well about it being cut out of certain schools. It was in the States, wasn't it? Right? Now, we've got to think about it. If we start cutting all these things out, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to these kids? Are they become emotionless? And then I do understand the other side, the kids who get left out. Well, let's think about implementing something else so those kids will be nurtured into understanding the whole area of love.
So, Chris, tell me, do you have a love food?
Do I have a love food?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, let me tell you something.
Yeah, I'm listening.
You're listening? Listen to it. Listen good. All right, my love food, I'll say, is when I come home and I know there's chicken. There's roti. There's nice drink, there's desserts. I'm trying to cut down on desserts because I've still got the 1 pack and I'm trying to get the other 5 packs. You know,
I got 8 packs.
You got 8 packs?
Yeah, trying to lose 2, you know, keep it to 6.
We're working it together, right? We're going to sign up in the gym, right? Yeah, but there are foods that are really good. I'll travel for miles for these certain foods. I love food overall.
Well, listen, celebrity chef Curly Sue, give us an idea of some love food for Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day, most people are thinking about what sort of romantic meal they can have, what sort of food can they have for their loved one. Well, there's another aspect of Valentine's Day. How about showing love to your heart and having foods for your heart that are making your body more healthy? Show some love to your body on Valentine's Day. Now, what foods, you may ask? Almonds are really good for your heart, oats, avocado, olive oil, and these are just not my personal opinion. These are all things that the British Heart Foundation approves of. So these are things you can incorporate into your meals. So these are some great things to have for Valentine's Day.
Now, of course, you heard it from the love doctor yourself, you know what I mean? Now, without a doubt then, of course, if you start to ban Valentine's Day card, you'll have to start to ban mobile phones, you've got to start banning games. So it's going to be a sort of ricochet effect at the same time.
It will.
Okay.
But at the same time, in saying that, I can actually see the other side of the fence because just as Valentine's Day is very commercialized, that in itself could actually do damage to kids as well at the same time. So we've got to think about what we're doing, how we're doing it, and what we're actually teaching, and be the role models.
Thank you, Coach Chris Browne.
Sylbourne, it's been a real pleasure.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, of course, that's Browne with an E. I want to thank you so much for joining us on the show today. And of course, we thank you as much as possible for watching us. Now, don't forget to keep in contact with us on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And we look forward to seeing you next time. And remember, always subscribe to the channel and like and do not dislike. Thank you for watching my YouTube channel, which is most appreciated from wherever in the world you are. Now, don't forget to click here, and I mean click here to subscribe to my channel so as not to miss any of my videos. And remember to comment, share, subscribe, and like.